Was that was by our artist, bro. Hype Drawers. He yeah, we I sent him two of your logos, the world one and that little character of you guys, and I was like, just pick one of these, which one you think is gonna be dope, and yeah, he went with the character, and man, it came out so sick. What is
It's awesome. It's awesome.
where did that character come from? Like, I know you do a lot of 3D rendering, but what was inspiring you behind that, behind your Johto Valley character?
Well, I did a 3D animation course
Mm-hmm.
in university. I went to film school.
Yep.
And so I did 3D, and then for one of the assignments, we had to rig up a character,
Mm-hmm.
and we were supposed to make a robot just because it was quite simple to do. But I was playing around with it a lot at home, and I was like, I wanted to rig up my favorite Nintendo character,
Yeah.
which was Ness from Earthbound, if anyone knows him. Um, and I asked the teacher, and he was like, "Yeah, sure." So I did it, and then I managed to like do a little scene with him. And then once I did it, I liked it so much that I kind of I took the way I modeled Ness, and I kind of built him around me,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of like some of my features, and then just like and some just random custom features.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was inspired heavily by Ness.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, a character. You might have put him on like Super Smash Bros or something.
Yeah, yeah, I seen that. He like it literally looks just like him. Wears the red cap and he's kind of got the baseball bat and things in the Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's a like a similar build. Yeah. So that was kind of behind my character.
Yeah, hectic, man. Well, let's get things started properly. Just for our YouTube purposes and things like that. We're here at another YouTube Hoodstarz AMA. We got the founder of Johto Valley, Jacob VP. Thank you for coming, man. Appreciate you coming on, having a chat with the Hoodstars community.
Yeah, appreciate you getting me on board, man.
Absolutely, man. It's a pretty casual back and forth with us. We got our community listening in. They're kind of just going to be typing in our general chat if they have any questions while we're just having a yarn. And then at the end we bring them on and to ask anything of you before we wrap things up. So yeah, super casual, man. I guess the first thing I'd love to get
Yeah,
started
awesome.
though with you before we dive into that long list of heavy hitters of musicians you're slowly just not even slowly, you're just fastly adding to every day. Like take us back to the start of Johto Valley, just the early days of it, and even sort of how Johto Valley was formed and what it means.
Well, I started off just like I did my film degree, and a couple years into it, I realized I didn't really want to do filmmaking immediately. Maybe in the future, but what I was always watching was music videos, and I'd shot a few in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to get a camera, and just like literally contact every local artist I know and shoot music videos, just like how Cole Bennett did, if you're familiar with Lyrical Lemonade.
Oh, for sure, definitely.
And he, yeah, yeah, he's the goat. So
Mm.
I just started doing that with all the local artists in New Zealand, and these artists like they were basically average Joe, because like it was just, I mean, even the big artists in New Zealand like aren't popping. So it was literally, I was just going around to everyone making videos. But then in my degree, I was given a 3D software as an elective, and it
Mm-hmm.
was only a like a half year elective. But I got that software. I got it on my home computer, and I started to really implement 3D into the footage I was doing, like CGI.
Yep.
And I used Cinema 4D to just kind of add 3D elements to these just real run and gun music videos. And because of that, I got some traction from some of like the bigger artists in the scene, and then also yeah, well, just because I was the only, well, not the only, but there weren't that many people that were doing music videos in New Zealand, especially for hip hop, and especially in that style.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't long before I guess some higher ups in the music industry saw it, and I just kept going with it, and before I knew it, I quit my job at the cinema, and I was doing it full time within that same year I started. Just because there was like so much demand for it in New Zealand because there just wasn't that many people doing it.
Yeah.
And this was all just kind of built through Instagram, word of mouth. And I called it Jodo Valley just because I a lot of my work was kind of quite poppy and 3D, like Nintendo inspired. And Johto was it's a different spelling, but it was the first Pokemon region that I played in Pokemon Crystal on my Game Boy Color. And then so that's
big gamer.
where Johto came from, and then I kind of just spelt it a little differently, just so it isn't the exact spelling, and then I that became my kind of nickname around town without it wasn't really my intention. But that's where Johto Valley came from. And Valley was another game I used to always play was Stardew Valley, which is like a farming simulator game. I'd always play on my PC during high school, and that was the second half of it. I just made it Johto Valley.
Bro, all those gaming hours paying off, like everything you go like leading not only into your name, where it's kind of like become such an iconic sort of. I mean, for me as a director and seeing your work, it's like definitely just popping up again and again and again. But then like even tying in your passion for playing games and now into just creating the wildest, like pretty much like the most mental shit. You're definitely on par. Leveling up every shoot you do and pushing the boundaries with your VFX, your 3D world building. There's a couple of guys out here doing it. We got the yourself, we got the Moonboy Studios who are doing paving the way as well. And I feel like with you guys shining light to that sort of style of filmmaking and VFX on the Cole Bennett level is like so refreshing. I was so stoked when someone it was actually Manny sort of flicked me your Instagram, and like I was just like, how have I never seen this dude before? How have I never come across your work? Because it was just that that captivating and sort of mind-bending as well when I saw the effects you were doing from start to finish. It wasn't even just like an effects scene. It was like just flooded with the best shit. So and to hear it was coming from NZ was like just really cool as well.
No, it's I remember that. I think Manny referred us for the Cadus project.
And
it was really cool. You seemed pretty excited about the work, which was awesome to hear, because it's not usually as upfront as that. But that was really cool.
Man, I forgot that was our first video we kind of teamed up on. Like it's been a wild ride, I'm sure, for you and your team the last couple of months, which we'll shed some light on in that in a minute. Of kind of how these big players came apart, but our first meet was with the Kedis clip. If you guys have seen Conjo, we had Kedis on last week for an AMA as well. He's one of our shortlist finalists in our song comp we're doing here at Hoodstarz as well. But he got us on to do a clip called Conjo, and Johto Valley did all the butterfly VFX and the stars in the comments. It was definitely what the clip needed. And that was that was kind of our intro to stuff. But let's so what was your first point of contact with, like, and how does that even happen with these superstars, LA rappers, kind of like they just drop in a DM, or is it a management, or like how did any of this come about to lay the foundation of Johto Valley, a New Zealand VFX production house? I mean, you're a director as well, but how did this come about to be chopping it up with these guys and building that long list of superstars to work with?
Well, it was I won't beat around the bush. It is like I'll say exactly how it happened. Just because I want to give full credit to the connection. Essentially, like I said before, I was doing music videos constantly, and and I wasn't doing anything differently with trying to reach out to bigger artists or whatever. I was just snowballing, just like through artists in the scene. And obviously the New Zealand scene's a lot smaller, and because of that, kind of it's not it's like a smaller pond. So if there's a few talents that are standing out, they're more easily picked up.
Yeah.
That's for sure. That's something that's not talked about a lot in New Zealand. It's kind of frowned down upon, like, we're not like the States, blah blah blah. But there's actually big opportunities when you're in a smaller place.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to be seen by, the global radar.
Mm-hmm.
When you can get to the top of one game easily,
Mm-hmm.
So I kept going, and then I eventually met someone called Half of Nothing, Blue Hamel,
Mm-hmm.
and who was a really, really talented, he's just a talented stylist, a talented, he's just done everything. He does 3D work, he does crazy work overseas, and he was an Adidas ambassador for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and he lived in New York. He actually came back to New Zealand because of COVID, and he saw all the music videos I was doing. He has a huge passion for music videos, but hadn't really gotten into it yet.
Yeah.
And we met after a shoot. My friend Leighton introduced me to him because he lived in Christchurch, and they came up, and he saw the work I was doing. He's like, "Oh, the 3D work you're doing is insane. Do you want to edit this video that I'm directing?" And he hadn't directed that many music videos, but he was directing this one. So this girl called Nori. And the shoot was crazy. It was all in this forest scene. It had a big rain scene in it. And so this is my first time working with Blue, Half of Nothing. And so he, I edited the whole video and did the VFX, made this rain simulation in it, and he was really stoked with it. And that was that. Then he directed a few more videos I helped out on. And then he helped out in a few videos I directed, but we hadn't really kind of put a label on it yet.
Yeah.
Then out of nowhere, because he'd gone around in the States for a while.
Yeah.
There was someone he knew who was directing a Jimmy Kimmel special for Nav and Gunner. So this guy was like, "We've shot this thing for the Jimmy Kimmel show. And it's going live tomorrow, but we need a rain scene in it. The music video that you did had a rain scene. Can we get that rain scene? Who edited that?" And that was me. So I had 4 hours, and I had to simulate the same kind of rain, storm, lightning on this Nav and Gunner clip. And this is just me during lockdown. Like, I was literally just had my old iMac in a bedroom of just in my bedroom, and I had to just do this fast as hell with like terrible render times, and I managed to do it. And then literally the very next day there was another thing, and then another thing, and then it was something for Snot, something for Big Sean, then something the next week there was another Jimmy Kimmel special, and then another Jimmy Kimmel special, and it just kept going because I managed to just do it just like that. They just kept coming. And then eventually me and Blue, we decided to kind of join forces, with him kind of managing and doing branding and us and then directing as well, with me doing visuals on the side, directing, kind of both playing kind of a similar role as Jodo Valley. And then kind of taking more of a route of a VFX house as well as music videos. And that's how that was the big step. So essentially it was with the people he knew, but then the job that I did just kind of happening at the perfect time. And
the momentum off that as
sometimes
well.
I guess like if I cut ahead a lot, someone could say, "Oh, it's just because you met that guy." But the truth is, like, I wouldn't. What was that, sir?
Oh, sorry, you keep going. There was a bit of delay.
Hello?
You're good.
Oh yeah. So I was gonna say, like, when I tell that story, sometimes I like skip a few steps, and then people are like, "Oh, so it was because you met that guy." And meeting Blue was like a huge step in it for sure. But like people have to understand, like I wouldn't have if I didn't like make that Instagram at 0 followers and like shoot videos for random kids around the block for like a
Yeah.
whole year before that, you know. So it is kind of who you meet, but it's also like you got to put yourself in the situation, meet them, and you got to keep grinding to like prove that, you know. So that was what it took, yeah, to kind of get that first connect.
Man, and like you said, like the pace that stuff was coming out of, like after that first one, you know, how cool, like how quickly they were asking that turnaround. You got to do this in 4 hours. Like I don't know what the time difference would be from New York to New Zealand, and you know, kind of just being able to, you know, push everything aside and go. Of course, I'm gonna spend every second in front of this computer getting it right and back to them on time. And that just snowballed into all those other, you know, opportunities outside of that. Like your name was, you know, now being in the circle, being thrown around, getting job after job. And what was the time frames in between each one of those jobs? Were they still like just as hectic as, like, you know, you got to have this tomorrow morning, and then that same day it was like, you know, you're chopping up with Big Sean's team and all of that. Like, what was the time frame across, like, after that first job? Was it like one a week, or was it kind of like over a 6 month period? Or yeah.
Oh, no, it was honestly like it was just constant. Like time was just like it was barely something I even thought about at that point. It was more render time. Render time was my clock. You know, it was just um, I would give ETAs by a couple hours because I wouldn't even know what time it was in New York, and sometimes it'd be bouncing from New York to LA.
Mm.
So we wouldn't even talk in time. We'd talk in hours. Like it got to that at points, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And Blue, who I work with, he is like insane. Like his work ethic is like he will sleep like 3 hours a night. He's just got the craziest work ethic ever. And he's done so much. Like he's lived twice his age already just in work time, just from the amount he's up working and just doing nothing else. And so you know, I had to match that. I had to
Yeah.
match that, and that's why we've been able to work so well. It's because we can kind of yeah, match each other. And sometimes it gets, you know, it gets unhealthy sometimes, but you know, I have the balance as well. I'm still young. I still you know, have my fun too. But yeah, in those situations when it's down to grind, you know, you've got to think by the hour, because it was like the thing was the director we were working with, Omar Jones. Um, he was not only at the time, him and David Webb, so those are the two ones. They weren't only just directing music videos, but they were doing the Jimmy Kimmel specials every week as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd have like a weekly one, as well as these music videos they were doing on the side, and the same way that, like, it wasn't even like they were getting the VFX artists and the editors to do all the hard yards while they had a good night's rest. Nah, they were legitimately passing over files to us while they were on another call for a Young Thug shoot they had in the morning, and then another Future shoot that next evening. Like they were living that too. So yeah, it was crazy to see all that unfold.
Man, yeah, exactly. And when you're in the heat of it as well, like dealing with like your hour turnarounds of, like, yeah, not times, it's like 2 hours from now, and then you're kind of even, you know, juggling those future conversations of, you know, you don't of, like, you know, the Young Thug names getting dropped around, or snot or anything like that, where you have no real time to really kind of sit back and go, holy fuck, like this is who I'm doing this for. You're kind of just already in that, like,
Yeah.
get it done. I'm gonna fucking look back in a week or 2 weeks from now and go, I just fucking made this video for Snot, for Kanye, or whoever. It's like in those moments, it's such a,
Yeah.
you know, you kind of really go into like fight or flight. Hey, it's such a weird moment. So I haven't had an experience like that on, you know, on such a big level, like you have with those big names, or like a few. But I mean, I was only shooting live shows, not actual videos for them. But like I know, like, just how stressful last minute video turnarounds are for, you know, my Aussie clients and things like that. And to do that where it's in another country, and it's 4 hours and it's back to back to back to back, man. That's a story to tell. It's so sick.
Yeah. it's crazy, like you said it, with like kind of it's setting in, just like when it actually registers for you that you've done it. And for me, it's always the buzziest situations. Like, it's not like when I post about it, or when the video is done and I watch it. Sometimes it's like, I remember one of the biggest ones was when I was watching, like, I don't know if you know, I'm Dante, who's a YouTuber. He does reactions.
Yep.
He's like a reaction YouTuber. When I saw him react to one of the videos that I had sitting on my After Effects for a couple weeks, and I was like, holy shit, okay. What, I watch his reaction videos all the time, and now he's reacting to something like, oh yeah, I put that title there, I put that effect there. And it was just it's little moments where you're like not expecting it.
Yeah.
Or like when you do a video and then you see like Complex post about the video with a frame that I had in my video monitor, and I could have chosen to make it blue or red or yellow, but like, like, it's like, wow.
Yeah, they're noticing those little touches
computer,
of yeah. It's the respect though from
Yeah,
those guys as well. Like they're really showing a lot of love, like, to every sort of element of a team now. Hey, like the VFX guys, even the sound design, when people are kind of reacting to like those moments of like everyone's, I feel like, the respect is coming to all of those key players to do those extra spices and ingredients across the video shoot, which is good to see.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
Yep. Now, bro, you just got back from overseas. How was that? You went to the snow to film a festival and party. Like, bro, is that not the best gig you've had so far out of all of it? Shooting, partying in the snow, snowboarding. Talk us through that.
Oh yeah, yeah. I didn't think you'd ask about that. That's crack up. Yeah, no, that was so recent. That was definitely the best gig I've had. And like, obviously, there's like I just said with things registering. Yeah, it's one thing to like see your name on a credit, but then when you look back and you're like, okay, one day I decided I wanted to pick up a camera and do music videos and edit, and then now I'm overseas at a festival at like in the French Alps doing that, everything just been, brought out, bloody almost red carpets and all, just like, shooting this event.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, just to think that I could have just not done that and I wouldn't have been there. That was another moment where it set in. But essentially it was like a JBL event. It's called JBL Snow Party, where I think it's every year, or they hadn't done it for a few years, but they do like a big kind of, not just staff, but kind of influencers, DJs, everything, like a big, big party. And they had it in the French Alps in this place called Val Thorens, which is essentially this huge village at the top of the French Alps, with like, it's got like bloody restaurants, clubs, bars, snowboarding, everything.
Yeah.
And they flew out a bunch of the JBL artists and stuff. And I went up with Jupiter Project, who are a New Zealand duo. And I did content for them, and then content for the festival. Shot some of the dopest footage I've shot before. And we just essentially filmed during the day, edited, and then partied at night. And it was freaking awesome. Like, I hadn't been overseas in so long, hadn't been to Europe since I was a kid. So it was a crazy experience. And since it wasn't just like a casual entry event either. There were just so many just iconic people there. Like, we were at this bar on the Alps on one of the nights that weren't even one of the festival nights. It was like a chill night with Jupiter Project. They were performing at the bar. We were just, we're jamming there. I was filming them on stage, and then Martin Garrix just rocks up, and he just stands up on stage, and he's like, "Hey, you mind if I do a set?" And we're like, "Yeah, of course you can." It's someone that I'd watched FL Studio tutorials from like when I was a kid, and jammed to constantly on my Skull Candy headphones when I was playing Minecraft. Like, it's just right there in front of me.
The Skull Candies.
That was really buzzy. Yeah,
bro. Yeah, I mean, that's what it can be like just in Europe. Hey, like it's you know, out here in Australia and New Zealand, it's like really people are making an effort to come out this way and stick around. But over in America, Europe, and things like you literally have those opportunities to be brushing past like these high level celebrity artists and to be kicking back just to put his hand up and go, hey, can I have a go? Yeah, man, come jump
Yeah,
in. That's
yeah,
cracker.
yeah.
That's
It
killer,
was it
bro.
was so good.
Man,
Yeah.
yeah, I love what you're doing. Like I said, you got so much talent. Yourself and who else is in your team? I've been like I'm not too familiar with exactly how far Jodo Valley stretches. Like, talk us through some of your key players in there. I mean, you got your boy, the half of nothing, Blue. But yeah, who else have
Yeah.
you got in the team, and sort of what are they playing? What's the dynamics of Jodo Valley?
Yeah, so for the most part, since me and Blue's work ethic has always been just like go, 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 it was really for a good part of it, every time we kind of brought in a contractor or someone that we were like, oh, should we try this out? A lot of the times the workflow wouldn't it wasn't as seamless. So we held off on it for a while. But I'm still based in New Zealand, in Auckland. And I'm with a collective called None Entertainment. I'm actually at the office right now, and that's where my setup is based. Yeah, they're an event company, they're a label as well, and we're kind of like a creative hub, where I've got yeah, like my best friend Leighton. He has his own media company called 24K Media.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a desk right across from mine where he's constantly doing photo shoots on the wall next to him, video shoots. And then I've got, there's Legacy Media, which is another marketing company that's right in front of me on a desk. And we all collaborate. And then, my desk in the middle, Jodo Valley, I do my VFX, and I have, there's another, well, directly in Jodo Valley, I have me, Blue, and then we've got Noah, who is he's a young New Zealand VFX artist. He'd been doing music videos with us for a while,
Yeah.
but on his own, just like even without our help, he joined our team because he was suddenly doing music videos, like editing music videos for young bands, freaking yeah, he did a Ken Carson one. I'm not sure if you'll be familiar with the names. They're more in like, the American like kind of SoundCloud rap scene.
Mm.
And like Lil Tecca, is one coming
Huge.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like artists
I
we're all
seen
listening to. So
you mentioned the Ken
yep.
Carson one um super like driven by your VFX and things like that. Was that the one in the? I'm just gonna pull it up now. And that one said you got a lot of traction and a heap of views in like just from an early stage.
Yeah. That one's Run Plus Ran. So essentially, like we that that King Carson video, it just came out recently, but it's from a director duo. I'll get it, it's two guys,
My job
Oliver
is
and
to
Kevin,
make college.
Yep.
who were just really really talented new directors.
Mm-hmm.
And they did a video for King Carson, called Rock and Roll, and that. But Run Plus Ran, Rock and Roll are both songs by King Carson that are already out, and they were in my playlist for so long already. And everyone in my office like listen to those songs all the time. And then Noah comes to the. He's literally 15, by the way. This kid Noah was 15 or 16. Like he comes to the office and he's like, oh yo, I just worked on this video is coming out for King Carson for that song Rock and Roll we all listen to, and we're like, holy shit. And he did VFX for it, and then a couple weeks later, the same directors hit me and Blue up, and they're like, "We need help on this new King Carson video that we're directing. Can you jump on?" And then I jumped on the video, and then a bit of a coincidence, Noah was actually on it too. They're like, "Can you communicate with the other VFX artists?" And it was actually the guy that was in the office too. And we're like, "Oh shit, all right, I guess we're collaborating." And that's kind of when we collabed, and we're like, "All right, join us,
Yeah.
it's Jodo Valley,
Yeah.
and that's what we've been doing. But anyway, so that was just like the way it started, and it was essentially this huge video with a massive post-production budget where it's just like they had a party scene that was kind of inspired by Project X.
Bro, I'm
The
watching
album's
it
called
right
Project
now.
X 2,
It's
and they just wanted.
sorry. I'm just watching it,
Yeah,
and
it's
I'm gassed hearing you chat about it and talk about it. Like, yeah. So like yeah. Keep
yeah,
sorry, bro. I was just pumped. Um, the Project
yeah,
X
yeah.
two. Sorry.
It's
Carry from there.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like a party video that just goes, once they all take a few pills, it just goes insane. And they had so many, VFX takes on it. We did so many different variations of just random effects that we wanted to do to make everyone just look insane and like they were tripping. They were bouncing ideas to us. We were doing random. They were giving us plates, and we were just doing random things on it. Some of it stuck, some of it didn't. But we essentially built this like crazy horror scene. It was something that initially was starting off as being more psychedelic, but ended up being quite horror oriented, which was really sick. But yeah, we got to have like, because these VFX jobs that I'd done in the past, I was still working for some of my favorite artists, but it was more the dirty work. It was the jobs like, hey, we need this last minute. Where this was something where we had a few weeks to just really be creative.
Yeah.
And it was for a song I loved, an artist I loved, and directors that were incredibly talented. And once we'd finished up, I watched the video back, and I was like, holy shit, this is one of my favorite music videos.
Bro.
Which is, I hadn't actually had with some of the bigger artists I work with. There'd be really good videos, but they'd never be like some of my favorites. But yeah, that was such an awesome project to get on. And then it also just like opening the video and just seeing, first of all, it's getting like say like 1.2, 1.3 mil, which was awesome. But then also seeing the comments where it's not that common to see like the entire first page of comments is like about the video, about the editing, which is like awesome to hear. It's awesome to see. Like you know that like it definitely made a mark. Yeah.
Bro, and I'm seeing. I think I had seen a trailer from your video, but I haven't seen it all the way through, and I'm literally just watching the Hollywood film unfold of like the horror of like this mad party take a whole left like turn down the wrong lane, and it's like such a crazy trip out, man. It's like, oh shit, it's impressive. Like, it really deserves the traction it's getting. The comments are there, like, and for me, I'm one of the directors doing you dirty, giving you the dirty jobs, and coming in and going, "Bruh, save it, help me, help me do this. I need it tomorrow." Like, and man, I apologize for that, bro. But I'm always trying to. I only come up with. I forget about like when I'm doing these pitches at the start sometimes that I have like someone to reach out to chop it up and have these conversations to sometimes I think the idea is too whack or too far-fetched or too this. I can't do it because I physically don't know how to do it, or I don't even know what's possible. But I mean, after seeing that, it's kind of just like, if there's enough time, it's possible. Like, we give you more time. We could do some things. So I mean, seeing that, I've already like sort of changed my scope on a couple of. I've got about 10 videos on the go right now on the pitch level of things. Two out of those I already know that I kind of want to have that have room for you and your team to spend some time on it and give it the proper touch and love it deserves of the Jodo VFX. And bro, that's I'm so excited. Like, yeah, you guys would have seen the Fady clip. We were speaking about it last week. Open Till Late featuring Fady, Jodo Valley, Jacob and his team worked tirelessly around the clock because I gave them some really shitty deadlines and timings while he was flying back from the French Alps, and he's kind of like, yeah, I'm just at the airport, man, flipping through, let me see what's happening. and only because I literally got a really last minute time extension as well. I wasn't gonna worry about it. I was kind of gonna do it internally, and but I just kind of made the call, and I told the guys, I was like, it's not at the level it needs to be, and we need to get these VFX done, and I kind of, used had a yarn with them, and spun some magic and got an extra couple of days. And I mean, you didn't even stop. You flew in and landed and were straight onto the clip and taking naps at the studio to sort of wake up, finish chatting with me at 2, wake
I'm
up at
used to it,
6
man.
a.m.
I'm used to it, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's, and it pays, and it's paying off. Like, it's outside of this, which really lifted our video. It wouldn't be what it is without those, any of the VFX with the force field, the zap ins, but really seeing like, your full potential across this Ken Carson Run Plus Ran video. Man, I'm gonna be writing down my my ideas. I'm doing my homework, and I'm coming back to you in the next couple of days with some good timings and a healthy budget.
Oh man. All right. Well, I can't not chat. The dirty work is like that. That's what drove me to begin with. That's what drives a lot of my work and stuff. That is my job. It's just it's even the best, most inspired directors in the world, like, will only find select moments where they actually can go fully creative on something like that. And we've done that before with I remember us jumping on a call before that Chillin' It video was shot, and we spun ideas and and planned out VFX before the shoot, which was awesome. And even just like brains, even though it was there were time pressures, still even last minute brainstorming what to do for certain shots, which was cool.
Yeah,
On
that's
the
exactly
Dreaming of
right.
the State video.
I love it when the two line up. Like when we get to, like, we were always pressed for time with that Chillin' It shoot we did. Dreaming of This Day. Like we did go in with a good plan of, like, the visual effects we wanted to get across it. So it definitely saved us some ideas, or you pretty much for you guys to be messing around with things on there. We went in with a bit of a scope, but again, I've never really, as much as I try to so much, like, especially for my VFX clips, it just never works out that, like, recently and like over time, that I've just had a really decent amount of time to really pull it off. And like I always feel like I'm giving like my VFX guys, like we've worked together on 3 or 4 videos now, and those timings have always just kind of just had a deadline just hanging over us of like 3 days, or like a lot. Chilling It was a little bit less than that, like 48 hours or something just stupid of like, let's have a look at something, we need to make changes. And you got to stay so ingrained into the project. And I don't even know what it's going to be like to be able to, have 2 weeks or a month to be like, let you guys do it for a week, and then we review a week and go, wow, okay, now we've got another week to, come up with it, and then we still got 2 weeks to sort of tighten and go from there. It's yeah, I mean, the things we'll be able to do, man, together, like off the back end of the Chillin' It, great ideas, problem solving as well, like with the demon head in the bathroom when that kind of wasn't working, and we did the opacity, and we sort of just dropped that, and I think that works. It works so well doing that too. And
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I'm looking forward to, like, it really opens my mind as like as a director. Like I said, I don't know the full, like, I know when people say anything's possible with VFX, but like, how do you think of anything when you can literally think of anything? You can't narrow it down into be like, you need someone to give you a theme, a party theme, a horror theme, an ocean theme, a desert, cold, hot, an X, you
Exactly.
sad, nighttime, any sort of fucking theme helps you sort of, okay, narrow your
Yeah.
mind down. But like having such a broad
Yeah.
concept when they go, "Oh, just do what you want, man," and you're like, "Fuck, I've been doing what I want for
Yeah.
6 years. Give me something you want. I'll create what you
Oh.
want."
And that's why I like, when you come to me, with ideas, there's a treatment, there's a concept, there's stuff that you specifically want. The amount of times I've had either when I'm directing a video, someone storyboarded something, or I get someone coming to me for VFX where they're just like, "Can you just put a bunch of cool shit around here?" And it's just
Yeah.
like, what do you mean? Or just like, can you do some fuzzy VFX, just like flying around. Like, can you do some 3D around there? And it's just like, yeah, I can, but also like, you know, because it's just like, am I just, yeah, all right.
Because what
Just
you
get, it
think is
gets
cool shit
like
is
that's
different to their cool shit. Like, what's cool? Like, what cool shit do you want? Like, literally, and like your folders
yeah,
full of probably thousands and thousands and thousands of like just things, or even you create them. You probably just create your own shit. But it's like, yeah, what is cool shit to you? Give me. Is it jewelry? Is that cool
yeah,
shit to you? 3D shit. Okay,
yeah,
3D what? You want 3D fruit? You want a 3D kettle?
yeah.
Or you want a
Exactly.
shark? I don't know.
And yeah, but it is like yeah, like you said, like when you have yeah, when you have the time to brainstorm more. But it even is just like it is learning stuff project to project as well. Like yeah, I even had like a moment today. I'm doing a video where I'm doing VFX for where I'm doing like liquid simulations, and I was learning to do it today.
Mm-hmm.
And then someone came in and they're just like, oh yo, like what's that gonna look like? And I was like, I don't know, you know, I have no clue. But I'm keen as to see it because I've never done it before. And yeah, it's just constantly like trying new effects, and then the more projects you do, even as fast or slow, you kind of get the opportunity for like you know, you'd actually like learn random skills within the software, and stuff like that. And so, yeah, constantly there's going to just be new opportunities for like new shit that I can do VFX wise, and that's exciting. That's really exciting, and people and more stuff gets invented by the day as well. Like I tell you, some of the kids that are on After Effects are kind of like, yeah, that I'm seeing. It's just like, how did you do that? Some 14-year-olds are just like, I'm like, I don't even understand how you did that. I've got to catch up to them because it's just like the new generation is just, yeah, it's crazy. Like the
There,
visual effects are just going through the roof.
man, they're
Yeah.
learning it from such a young age. Like I got friends who are teachers and things, and they're literally having like they'll be learning it in preschool. They're learning like coding and things from preschool to year one. Like, and this is coding programs, and then like they're learning computer skills of like, yeah, 3D world building, you know, renders, you know, even just in all their games of like bloody Roblox and all these things. It's like learn how to 3D render and world build with Roblox. It's like what?
Yeah.
Like they're picking their iPads up and they're learning these
Exactly.
life skills in and they're yeah and their minds are wild as well of like when you're a kid like just like the most random shit you're watching and coming up with like in the YouTube black holes is like when you first discover YouTube as a kid like it's crazy and so the
Yeah.
ideas would just be like what they'd be creating is just the imaginary is is something else so
Yeah.
you got to keep up we got to yeah, keep up with
Oh,
the pace for
bro,
sure.
like there's a while where I got I think I got too comfortable with just like doing 3D when I was like, yeah, I'm the kid on the block doing 3D, and that's in at the moment, and not many people are doing it. I've got my character, I put them in the videos sometimes. I do 3D stuff, and I just kind of kept doing that for I remember like a half year, and then as soon as I noticed like one other person doing it, so it was like someone's learned how to do it. I was like, all right. I need to try. I need to learn some new stuff, and immediately I was like, "Yeah, all right. What's the next thing? What's the next thing?" Yeah,
Mm,
it's just like that. You gotta stay on your toes because people can learn your secrets pretty quickly, you know,
yeah.
but they can't mimic your work ethic all the time. Yeah, that's the main thing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you people can always get the recipe and the formula, but it's like you know you never really know how to cook with those things. Everyone has the same ingredients, but there's still a method that needs to be done right to sort of get the sauce.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's the way.
What would be your like you know what would be your favorite like sort of part? You're obviously you're across all sort of aspects of filming, editing, 3D building, directing, and I even saw you behind the camera. So I mean, you're kind of wearing a lot of hats when it comes to a set. But if you could have a team sort of around you, what would where would you sort of want to be sitting? In what role do you like playing the most?
Um, I like. I think yeah, in terms of music videos and stuff, like I really do want to be directing again. I've been directing videos for sure, recently, but not as much as I was before, just because I really want to come back in a good fashion. Like I want my next. I've got a lot planned. I've got a lot of treatments and a lot of ideas, and I just really need the right projects to execute them. So I've been focusing a lot on VFX, just because it's going so well. But yeah, I've got a lot of really cool stuff coming, and I'm getting back into music videos again. So what I want to be doing is directing music videos. That's the stuff like, you know, uh, when I'm at the office, when I'm at home, when I have any free moment, like, I'm not like, yeah, at least now I'm not really like playing video games or doing anything like that. I'm watching music videos, like I'm just obsessed with the music scene, and I love videos, and I'm just constantly watching them. So I want to be directing music videos for sure. And with the new ideas I have in mind, and kind of like, yeah, this new theme that I've kind of thought up. That's what I want to be doing for like the next little bit. And then obviously, like, a huge part of what I do is in the edit as well. So
Yeah.
preferably get a doc on board, get a cam op, direct kind of like the cinematography, but not have my hands on the camera. Kind of, can't do everything at once. Direct it all, and then handle the edit myself. That's what I always like to do. I'm very particular about the edit. So that's kind of director editor, the classic combo.
Man, I like that combo. I like that combo because you get to call all the shots, and see sort of like, work with the artist and the team with the idea. But in that middle bit of like the work, you sort of let your gaffers and your lighting crew come in and do their part. You have a good DP taking care of kind of like, putting a lot of trust in your DP. It really alleviates a lot of your stress on a shoot, like leaving them to come back and forth, have the gear prepped, and have a good shot selection, outside of your shot list as well, going in with like a good shot list and brief that's coming off your head, and then when the DP comes back with even some extra stuff to sort of stitch the story together even better, with something you might have just overseen, because there's so many moving components as producer, director, and then you kind of just get, and then you get your hands on in the edit straight away. Like, would you get it, like, as an editor for you? Would you have one of your other teams sort of set it up and sync it, and sort of begin setting the project up, or you like to just take it by the reins and go and start it how you want to do it?
I have done that in the past, like had people sequence.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, I had when I was over in the Alps, I had I did a collaboration project with my mate who has his company 24K Media. We did a project together for, it was like a very last minute one that I don't know if you're familiar with Lil Bubblegum, who's this New Zealand artist who's just blowing up crazy overseas. We've done a lot of his music videos here. Yeah, we're his main team here. He's getting crazy traction, over like 1.5 mil monthly listeners, and like we're doing all this content, and they wanted like a last minute piece, and we were kind of like, all right, well, we don't really have much time to shoot this, so how about we just go into town, we party, and we film the whole thing on night vision cameras and 360 cams. And they're like, all right, do it. And we did that. And it ended up looking crazy, but obviously I was over there filming, so I didn't have that much time to edit it. And I had my mate sequence it, and I saw out the edit. And I think when I see out the edit, like when I get to be the last one to press export, then it gives me peace of mind, because it's kind of like, if you're a director editor, or like, you direct it and then finish it off, you're kind of, you create the project, and then you tie the knot, and it's very comforting. So I don't mind when someone sequences, because it kind of puts a lot of stress off, like that. This is what the video is, and now I can do it justice to exactly that. But at the same time, I do have, like, I was really into editing and shoot, like making music videos. I was really into that
before I got that 3D software in university.
Mm.
So it wasn't just the VFX. The VFX was something I like ended up, taking on board quite early, but still later. Like I'd shot like 4 or 5 music videos where I was very, very passionate about the way it was sequenced and edited quite early on, like without VFX. So I do really care about how something's sequenced. Like it does matter a lot to me, just like the flow of it. So ideally I like to do it all, but I don't mind if someone sequences it, as long as I get to kind of, I guess, direct the edit in a way.
You're still
I'm
staying
pretty
in
particular
control.
editor, but that's
I get that. It's like it's good to come in like create like with that. I feel like that's sort of like the dirty work, if you want to say, is of an edit, where it's the tedious thing of sort of compositing, like syncing the song to syncing the scenes to the song, kind of putting them in potentially like the right order, going off the shoot brief of like the timings and things. Like a good sequence person would do that as well, kind of still giving you all the options of like either if there's any director notes or the best takes. So you're kind of coming in and you kind of already got like, I mean, that's in a perfect world where you get your director notes on time. You've got the pitch as well sort of in front of you for someone syncing it up. But even if they are just sort of dragging all the shots on and they're syncing it for you, like I feel like it just helps build that momentum, and someone willing to do that, for you as well. It's like, it's sort of humbling as well to be like, hey, you just synced all that shit up, and you saved me like 2 hours. Hell yeah! Like you got that extra little bit of kick in like just
that's
starting. Yeah,
that's different. That's different for sure. I think if someone's just like genuinely like doing like an edit assist job, like in TV and stuff, that's awesome. I think it's more like, because I've done jobs in the past where someone's like, this is the sequence. Do the kind of fine tune it if you want, add a few effects, add a few more shots, and it always turns out like good. But then I always just have like the, what's it called? Just a bit of like, oh man, I would have put that shot there. I would have speed ramped that into that scene, but we used it here. But I mean, it does even get stressful sometimes. Like, I don't know if you ever had this, like, sometimes when you shoot like a big music video and you haven't exactly storyboarded each scene, you've got all the scenes, and then it's almost like overwhelming. Like, what do I cut to on the first drop? Like, do I cut back to this here? Do I save this scene for later? Like, it almost gets stressful sometimes.
Definitely.
Sometimes it's good if someone makes the call for you.
Like fresh eyes seeing the story, like fresh eyes seeing the story, like they'll see shortcuts in your story where you thought that you'd like, oh, I had like a whole scene in there where they go from that, like, and they've kind of like maybe cut out the whole car scene, or like the door closes on a hand and then it just cuts to them at the next scene. You're like, oh fuck, I never thought of that we could have just cut straight to this scene. Or like you might put one shot in there because it looks cool, but like I love like my editor, like he has fresh eyes on from shoots, and he's sort of receiving the pitch and the director notes, but like when he's seeing the footage as well, like I sort of like to give him at least a scrub through, and sort of like before he gets into it, like he looks at all the footage before he dives into like my notes heavily. We get on a call and sort of go back and forth, but I really kind of like to see what dots he connects from the footage, just from like an outside perspective, without like it being too curated at the start, where he's got to see this, and this, and this. He'll see it and he'll be like, oh, I was really liking this, or I thought the story was going there. Because even though 9 times out of 10, I do still peel it back to the original idea that we pitched, but it helps sort of like develop storytelling for future videos, but also extra edits of like the trailers, or like other contents and things that we can, there's multiple ways to get to the ending of like the story we are trying to tell. And it's refreshing. I really like that moment when you do see when you get the editor speaking back to you on what he was seeing, and you're like, oh, I can see how you see it like that now. It's not that, but it's cool, like when the ideas can just go anywhere.
100%. Yeah, it's like it's even in film and a lot of things, I think editing editing needs more credit, because it's like, yeah, that's the last interpretation of the story. It's a last interpretation of the footage. You know, there's so much work that goes into pre-production, but really just that sequence on like one computer on one screen, that's the last we've got, you know, of like what this film is, or like what this video is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so an edit's so important. Yeah.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter how good the camera is, doesn't matter how good anything else is. It's how you it's what's exported, you know?
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
so
they have so much power, because after all of that, the editor doing, like, the DP's doing these crazy long shots, all these crazy things, and then the editor's like, I'm gonna cut it here, and you're like, why did we spend so
yeah,
long doing this one take when we're just gonna chop it up anyway? And like, you do got to think back to your notes and go, is it worth this? But like, you know, early stages are in time constraints and things. First thing you're doing is just sticking with the edit they got. All right, we have no time. Go for it. It's like they're picking the shots. So yeah, it's pretty.
yeah,
They're a key player, man, and I really say, like, we spoke about it a lot this week as well. We had Liam Thomas, a producer out of Sydney. He's been working with you know, some really fast rising stars: Mason Day and Creed the Kid, Day One, Baby Prince. Yeah, kind of a lot of these, like, yeah, rising stars out of Oz, and he, like, you know, we mentioned just like producers. I feel like are, like, obviously they're the editor of music, and they're a real key to the success of, you know, how obviously the last bit of a song sounds, and it's recently this year that a lot of people have really been diving into, you know, showing these other key players respect of, like, it's not just the artist is at the front of the pack, but, you know, there's the producers, the managers, the photographers, the mix and masters, and like, it's great to see everyone really yeah, showing love to all these people behind the scenes that before kind of get palmed off to, like, oh, the DP, this is shot so well, and it's like, bro, it's the color and the VFX. It's a nice shot, but it's on sticks. You know, it's a good lens selection,
yeah,
but you know what? I put that blue sky in, and, or like, I put the spot, like, but yeah, and so now the respect is finally, I feel like it's coming to all of these you know, the other players in the team.
yeah, the unsung heroes.
The unsung heroes, yeah, exactly. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
switch over to I'm gonna have a little look in the what's up, hot noodle soup. Just having a look through the. I just saw his chat in the hood chat. Here, I got SOS in here. I think he's bounced now, but yo, what's good, man? Who else we got? We got the Hoodstarz love. I mean, so guys, we got Jodo Valley probably for another 15 minutes or so. I'm gonna open it up now. It's been great hearing those stories overseas, man, and diving into your team out of New Zealand. But I'm sure the couple of listeners would love to sort of come on one by one, ask you a question, and yeah, just, you know, answer it off the top of your head.
Yeah.
See how we go. Anyone got any questions? You guys normally.
No.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I was waiting for Afric to go. He always goes first.
Afric, you're on.
Thank you. Oh, no. Yeah, hi, Jacob. How are you, man?
I'm good, bro. Yeah, how you doing?
Yeah, very good, man. Yeah, I've been listening to you speak, and I really like the way you think. Yeah, it's very interesting getting a videographer and, like, director's perspective. You know, like, as a music producer, because it's like, okay, you know, how does the music interpret into a video, and as well as, like, an artist, like, you know, it's really, how should I say, it's relatable, you know. So my question is who was your initial inspiration, like, from, like, the youngest age you can remember?
Yeah, okay. From the youngest age I can remember, I would probably say, like, do you mean like a person? Like,
yeah, it could be a person, it could be an artist group, it could be, yeah, anyone that, like, you know, just made you, like, think differently, if I could say it like that.
Wow. Okay. I'm gonna go think about this. Well, in terms of a style, this isn't like the full answer, but in terms of a style,
Yeah.
like I said before, I was always really inspired by Nintendo. Just because those are the games I played, and that
And the
aesthetic really
aesthetic.
carried
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
That really carried on just because yeah, I find something I've noticed is, and it's not really like talked about, but you got like two separate types of gamer kids. You have Nintendo kids and PlayStation kids, or you
Yeah.
have the ones who bunch of them both, and they turn out very differently in terms of interests later on. I've
That's
noticed
actually
that.
very true. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, like I was always just really fascinated by brighter colors and stuff. Where my guy across from me at the office, Layson, he grew up playing PlayStation, was nothing about Nintendo or all that. And he was playing the grittier games, Black Ops and shit. And while I was playing, Minecraft and like Nintendo and Pokemon and stuff. And his videos are all drill videos, where my videos are all like colorful, poppy trap, you know.
Yeah. Very
And
graphic orientated. Yeah.
yeah. And just that style. So that's in terms of aesthetic. In terms of a person, from the earliest age, I do remember being really inspired by this is a buzzy one, but I was really inspired by Skrillex. I remember that back in the day.
But that's a great inspiration. Yeah.
Yeah. And I still think I'll give it a half decade, maybe a decade, he'll be appreciated. Because dubstep's still a bit of a meme. But yeah, that guy literally took a genre that was pretty much non-marketable. Like, it's just wubs and sounds, and he charted. And he just like continued to just make absolutely crazy music. And I remember back in the day seeing, like, I was like, holy shit, like, because I was on GarageBand all the time, like as a kid, like trying to do stuff, and then I was always seeing him like just make these like crazy sounds and shit, and I would just be like, yeah, this guy's awesome. I'd idolize him a lot. And yeah, and like I said, like I still do. Yeah, so Skrillex was probably a huge factor in me, like, yeah, trying different stuff. I think, rather than staying in one category.
No, that's fantastic, man. Yeah, and it definitely translates very well through the content you put out. And it's very true what you said, like bringing it back to what you said about, like, people that play PS when they were younger, and then the Nintendo players, and yeah, it's a very interesting perspective. Yeah, that was a great answer. Thank you.
Oh, cheers, man.
Yo, Jacob, it's nice to meet you, man. How you doing?
Nice to meet you too, bro. Doing good. You?
Yeah, well, thank you. So my question was, when you were first starting out, did you have like any worries or concerns that being in like a smaller market like New Zealand, and you could even consider Australia a bit smaller, that you were going to have to somewhat travel overseas to land like higher ticket clients? Or do you think that's more of a misconception, or do you feel like the game's changed a little where they can kind of come to you as long as you have the quality of product? Or did you not even be concerned about us?
Yeah, like in terms of my mentality around that when it started, it's almost hard to remember exactly what headspace I was in back then. But all I remember was I was very passionate about it, for sure. But then also well, one thing you gotta understand, I was in film school, and being in a film school degree, like in the midst of it, everyone's just like, I don't know what I'm doing, just doing my shit. And the worry comes once they finish the degree. That seems to be the trend. And during it, I decided, okay, well, I'm kind of worried about getting this degree and it just being rendered as useless. So I want to start doing my shit during it. So in the second year of my 3-year degree, I started shooting the videos. And at that point, like, I was getting a little bit of judgment from like other classmates, like about like, oh, I remember overhearing in the hallways, like, oh, Jacob's like shooting for random kids. And I was like, All right. But I kept going because I was like, I don't know, like the other alternative would be me doing papers and then sitting on my ass watching YouTube, but instead I was doing papers and shooting videos. So the stakes didn't seem that high because I didn't even know it was a career move, really. I just knew that I was doing videos and I could put it in a portfolio possibly if I was joining an editing firm. So I didn't mind that much. But then I did that for a year. Then within a year, I kind of like the people in my course kind of knew about my Instagram, and I'm named it Jodo Valley. But then a year later, by the time we were walking the graduation stage, I remember I had to like wake up. I had to set like 3 different alarms for graduation day because I was up all night doing I think it was a gunner gig or a Lil Mosey Lil Tecca gig. I was doing that the night before graduation, and they had to set another alarm to export something before I left and put on my gown. So by that stage, like I didn't really get the I'm graduated, what did I do? Because that was in the midst of the whole crazy, shenanigans with like the gunner gig going into the next week and the next week and the next week, that whole rollover. So by the time I like went home and went, I just graduated and I'm out into the real world, I kind of already like secured something I didn't even think was possible. So I don't know, that kind of all just got blurred together. The whole like being worried thing about where it'll go. To be honest, there's probably more of that now, than back when I was kind of in the degree. More of it now is just like, all right, sweet, what do I want to do to take this further, as opposed to starting off like, what am I gonna do to like make that next step to like get big jobs? Now it's like there's almost more stress to like, all right, well I've had these big jobs, what do I do with it? It's almost like, yeah, that's really where that part of the process came for me. Not so much at the start.
Yeah, awesome. And how'd you reach out to those guys? Did you just, message them on Facebook, or what was popping back then?
Oh, with the big clients.
Well, even when you were just starting out, like you said, people were laughing at you in the hall for, doing stuff with random guys. But how'd you meet those random guys? Was it just like you finding them on Facebook or whatever the platform you were using, or how did that work?
I remember it. So I remember like, because I was quite good at like thinking in the right box, like when like I knew what kind of what tier or league I was in. So to start off with, I was like, all right, I'm not going to reach out to anyone with any more than 10,000 streams on Spotify. So I remember thinking that very clearly. So I went on Spotify. I remember I looked at one New Zealand artist that I listened to a little bit, and I looked on his recommended and scrolled through it until I saw someone who like definitely didn't have a video or hadn't been hit up. And then I remember messaging him. We did a few videos, and I just went crazy on the effects. And like he just like whatever, like released it on a random YouTube, and we had fun with it. And then someone else saw it, and then I remember about a month or two after that, I was at Baydreams, which is a festival. It's a festival in New Zealand where they get a bunch of artists in, and then some of the opening acts were local New Zealand artists. I saw them up on stage, and they were opening for like, they obviously had kind of a little bit more of a label push, even though they were like smaller New Zealand artists. And I saw them up on stage, and I remember I was like, I'm gonna work with all of them. I'm gonna work with all of them within the next few months, and I did. I just kept doing my stuff. And at that point, I didn't even need to reach out to them because I just like made enough noise that they reached out. And once I worked with them, then it came to more and more and more. And then eventually, with that, it wasn't long before it made enough traction on Instagram, like that I met Jupiter Project, who are the ones who just flew me out to France, about a week ago or a couple of weeks ago. I met those guys literally just through Instagram, just through working with smaller artists, and eventually they saw it, and then we built such a huge working relationship from that I went out to Europe and partied with them for 3 weeks and shot content. So that was that was literally all just through. It honestly, it was one reach out, and the rest of it was just reciprocated from people wanting work. It was one big reach out at the start, just to like, oh, should I reach out to this random kid? And yeah, that's how it kind of worked.
No, it's awesome to hear, bro. Sounds like you're meant for this, attracting what you want, and you seem to be able to be in touch with getting those things. So congratulations to you, bro.
What's up, bro? I appreciate it.
Yeah, bro. It really has been a like, how long has your career been? Like, how many years would you cap it at? Like, excluding your time at film school.
Excluding the time at film school, yeah, because I had the 1 year where I started before the degree finished. So now it takes us to, it's only been, if we're not counting the year at film school, it's been a year and a half.
Man, that is crazy. A year and a half. Like, I mean, yeah, assisting people at film school, but like still learning your thing. Like, your time was still spent going to class and finishing your diploma degree or your studies. But like a year and a half full time video making, directing, shooting videos for people in your hometown and around the block and things like that. To like to be working with meeting these big players over in LA, UK, and then even getting flown out to the French Alps within a year and a half. That's impressive, man. Like, yeah, props to you, the work ethic. The opportunities are being presented to you, and you're grabbing them with, two hands and running with it. It's exciting to see, man. Especially someone just so close to us as well. I feel, like the last couple of years have really changed Australia's hustle mentality of like, creative workers, and like a lot of people just like, the Oz music scene and even just the creative scene. I feel like just people don't never believed in it. They never thought it was possible. They never like, movies are too hard. How do you get movies? Oh, you need more. You need $100 million, or how do you? It's on the TV. It's like it just always seemed out of reach. And now in the last 10 years, like the new generation is just proving everyone wrong that it's like it's not out of reach. You just never tried and you gave up too soon. And like hearing you achieve so much in just a year and a half, by putting your work before sleep, by putting your work before getting that meal, because I said it the other night, your hunger for your hunger for creativity outweighs your hunger for sleep and food, because it's just this is what actually drives us. This is how we feel alive and we live. So, man, it's inspiring working with you and hearing the story from yourself as well. It's been a pleasure, my man. Legend. Here we go.
Yeah, I appreciate it, bro. Yeah, real kind of words. And like it was Buzzy saying a year and a half, because it does actually feel much longer than that. It definitely feels much longer than that in actual work time. That was like, it actually has it. It was just a year and a half, to be honest. Yeah, it's only been, I think, even just like a year to this very month where I did graduate. Yeah, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, it has been. Which is very buzzy.
Honestly, a year and a half is intense. Like, yeah, it probably feels like 10 for you. Like, literally the amount of sleep you've probably missed just working tirelessly in front of the computer. And, bros, you've got such a good reel, and to showcase. It's an asset to the scene. It's only going to be bigger and better from here for yourself and New Zealand artists, and now, I mean, you're over in New Zealand, but that never stops us from working now. Like, it's so easy to send some files across the internet, get it there. You don't really need to pull up to the studio, and you can have Zoom calls. You could screen share. It's like where we're heading. Imagine what it's like. They talk about like the meta worlds and things like that, where you put a bit of mist in a room, like a hazer or something like that. Bang. That's how you make holograms. We're going to hologram and beam you into the room, and now you're walking around being able to interact and do these things or whatever. Like, It's not going to be looking at a screen. It's going to be looking at like, yeah, yourself in there. I don't know. It's exciting to. It's exciting that both the future for
Can't even
film
comprehend it, man.
and where the tech's going. Yeah, bro. Hey, we got 24K in here. That's your boy, yeah? How you doing?
Yeah, he's just joined in.
He's
He just went in and saw me in the other room.
Yeah, what's good, bro? Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Hoodstarz rep. Hey, well, I mean, we won't keep you for too much longer. It's been honestly, yeah, it's been a pleasure chatting, man. Really keen to run up those videos and things as well. That run and ran is the latest one. It's sitting on Ken Carson, sitting on 1.2 million views right now. It's come out what two days ago, 3 days ago, and it's on 1.2 million. Like, yeah, like hearing you talk about it as well, having that creative flow to turn it into that horror vibe, man, you nailed that shit. So, yeah, for people who haven't heard
Thank you.
of Jodo Valley, go do your homework, go do your research, sit in front of that computer until the battery's flat. You can watch them all day. Appreciate
it, bro.
Easy, bro. Hey, well, if there's no more questions, we'll let Jodo Valley kick it. Thank you so much. We'd love to, if you get some time in the future, man, just pop back in as well into our, hear some of our other artists. We're running AMAs, and I'm sure people now, when they go and hear this, that they'd love to, probably have some more questions later on. I don't know, at any random time, it'd be dope to keep you in our community and have an open soundboard for what we're doing here at the Hoodstarz community.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Yeah, it's awesome what you're doing here. Really good talking to you guys.
Yeah, thank you, brother. All right, man. Well, let's you can kick it now, man. If appreciate Jodo Valley for coming on, telling us about his story. And we're gonna do a little draw as well. We actually had we've got a t-shirt from the 046, some Western Sydney rappers coming up, and we got a hard copy of their CD. So if Baller, if you got you're really good at taking care of these the drawers and the random drawers. If we can bring that up and take care of that, we got you there, Reese.
Sir.
Yes, sir. Hey, you guys are in the running too, Jacob and 24K. That's just how it goes. You join, you get a ticket. So you could be taking home a 46 shirt.
Man.
And a hard copy CD. So yeah, some of the boys, yeah, they've had some big numbers and stuff on there. A couple of other songs. Yeah, it's kind of like it's like drill R&B. It's like they sing drill.
Oh man.
All right, you guys ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Go. Oh. Close.
Oh, sick one.
Winning everything.
Go.
Bro, where's the sick one gone? Where is he? He was just in here 2 seconds ago. Jake, you can't. All right, well, we'll flick it out, Tim. You came so close, Jacob. Thanks, Reese, doing that. We'll ship that T-shirt out to him, and yeah, guys. We'll leave it there. I'm gonna jump off and bounce as well. We got another big week of AMAs tomorrow. There's gonna be no AMA actually for the first time. But Wednesday we've got a heavy hitter, so we're gonna be posting about that tomorrow and get another couple of giveaways for you guys as well. Just our Aussie merch. Love supporting the locals. So yeah, get around it, join our AMAs, and come score some free kit.
Yo, let's go.
Let's go. All right, gang. Appreciate and stay hustling. I'll chat to you guys tomorrow.